Sitting alone atop the standings right now. The team's playing well. I guess just overall, just your thoughts on where you guys are at and how the team's playing.
Growth. We've shown a lot of growth in about 3 weeks in terms of coming together, playing cohesively. Our offensive execution, obviously, has been the biggest area of improvement. But I also feel that lately we've been defending well enough to win close games, big games. So I like the direction of our team. I think we still have room for growth. So the most important thing for us is keep looking forward and keep working hard.
I remember, talking to you on like sidelines of the football season, being like, "Hey, this group could be pretty good." But at what point was there a point in the season that you kind of realized, like, yeah, I'm really liking what we have here?
We had moments that might not necessarily all led to wins, but I started feeling good when the Northridge game at home. That was a defensive win. I knew we had guys that could score the ball, but I didn't know if we could defend, if we could handle a scout on a short turnaround. And that was a scout defensive game. We went away from some of our normal tendencies defensively in order to take a couple guys out of the game, and we executed that about as well as we have all up to this point. But that was the night where I felt we've got a chance to be a pretty good team.
Being alone in first place, how do you address that with players on the team who've never been in this position before?
I don't. We talked championships early in the year about wanting to be able to compete for them. You lose some games, you're playing from behind, you catch up, and then once you catch up, the conversations, we're here now. The race has started today, which that was the Friday morning after the win in Northern Colorado. At that point, you don't discuss it anymore. You're trying to win every game at this point. So the statement to the guys on that Friday was every game is a Forge championship game, and we've got to treat them all that way. Don't look back, just look forward at your next opponent.
Whether you won or lost the first game against teams, you guys are undefeated the second time through. So what do you attribute that to?
I think the biggest thing is just we've grown. Second half of conference, we've been a better basketball team overall. I think our guys have done a good job of paying close attention to detail. So when we find things that may have cost us a game or that could give us a better chance second time around, they've done a really good job of executing those things.
When it comes to preparing for this one, you guys took advantage of some stuff against Montana State last time. Do you expect them to tweak some of that stuff, and how do you sort of play the chess match?
Yeah, you don't live in the past. And so, yeah, we take note of things that worked, but we find other things that maybe we didn't take advantage of or didn't do a good job of executing. How can we get better? And for us, since that game, we've improved in those areas. So I think if we just continue to play the way we've been playing offensively, we'll be fine on that side of the ball. And then defensively, we've got to be more visible.
3 or 4 weeks ago, they moved Jay Mullins off the ball and started playing Napier and Miller at the one more often. How does that change them when they play different guys on the ball?
They moved him to 6 man.
Right.
And I think it's very similar to our change. And you've got a very good offensive player coming off that can play in a lot of different spots, whether it's with the ball in his hands or off. What I see is a young man that's pretty familiar with playing that where he's at right now, because it's more similar to where he played in high school on the wing along with Patterson. So maybe he's more in his comfort zone right now.
Philosophically, we've seen that the last couple of years where really talented guys are being brought off the bench. Raekwon Battle, Money Williams, Jay Mullins. What do you think of just that dynamic, and why is that an advantage for guys like that?
Sometimes it's what's best for the group in terms of who's playing with who. Maybe you run different offense with certain guys on the floor. Some of it's that. Sometimes guys could benefit from watching the first 3 to 4 minutes of play and getting a feel for what's going on out there, officiating, defensively, what your opponent's doing, or they just need to settle in. Everyone's different, and I think all the circumstances that you just named have been pretty different from each other as well. But there are benefits, but they've got to be confident enough and selfless enough to be willing to make the most of that, which we got that in the first half with Kai Johnson. We're getting that right now with Money.
Like Coulter mentioned some of the changes, but obviously they're really good at home too, and the crowd's been pretty packed there too. So what is it about them playing at home versus the road that they've been able to maybe have some more consistency versus road games?
We all play a little better at home. Just you weather storms better when you have a group behind you that will cheer for you when things are hard, or you make a play, the crowd gets behind you and creates a shift in momentum. There's a lot of that, and there's also the fact that you slept in your own bed the night before. So, you know, the guys have more routine when they're home, which I'm gonna guess that's them. They're a lot more aggressive defensively at home, and it's gonna be important for us to be playing our best basketball.
You're predicting the most popular question, so I'll go ahead and ask it. A lot of ancillary things around this game, obviously, in terms of, you know, there's a record that could be tied, there's, you know, the state pride, all these things. When it's the second go around, is it easier for guys maybe to settle in knowing that, you know, they've seen what the first round was? And I guess, how do you guys block out all that noise and get it done?
I think the second time around is easier when you're at home. On the road, the crowd can be nasty, and so the home game doesn't prepare you for that. And so I would say the home game would be easier in a rivalry like this one. I think the benefit of our non-conference schedule helps. That playing at Tennessee, playing at Utah State. Utah State's probably got one of the toughest student body crowds in the country, and so for us to go and play and weather through that is a sign that we'll be fine Saturday.
When you think of the road games you guys have had this year, you know, obviously the 2 conference losses were on the road. Where have you seen this team maybe dial it in more in these road games and pick some things? Oh, sorry, you split. Forgot Northern Colorado was here. Just where have you seen you guys improve maybe on some of these road games, especially in this latter half?
Well, to me, our road record, you're looking over all season, and you got to look at our opponents. So we're no longer playing top 25 teams. So if you take those 4 road games out of our road record, then it would be a lot better. So I think we've been good. Slow start, we're better now. You know, we had a tough loss at St. Thomas. We thought we let get away from a very good basketball team that played extremely well that day. We made a lot of mistakes that you typically make on the road early in the season in November, December, that I don't think we're making right now. So hopefully we're a better basketball team.
Coach Logie, you pointed to point guard play as such a huge differentiator. I know that you're a big proponent of that as well, especially this time of year. How big of an impact has that had on, especially you guys in Northern Colorado, with the steadiness you have at that position?
When did he say that?
He said it to me a couple days ago.
After he made a change?
Yeah, after he made a change.
You didn't think you needed one earlier. No, to have a floor general, to have someone that has an understanding of what it is you're looking for, can execute it. I think the most important thing of having point guard play is point of attack. They can draw a second defender, which makes offense easier for the others, and they should be able to contain the other point guard and contain the ball at the point of attack on the defensive side of the ball. So if you have that, then you always have a good opportunity to win, regardless to the rest of the talent on the floor.
Being the historian of the game that you are and of this place, what does it mean to you to be on the precipice of going into the record books here?
It means I've had good players. It means that I have a good staff. I've had good staff members that have been here with us prior. I think when you talk leadership, right, if you surround yourself with leaders, you'll be successful as a leader. And I think I've done that. I think that this isn't me pursuing a record. It's our staff pursuing a record. It's everyone that's been on the staff for the past 11 years that have played a role. And so I think all have been in pursuit of this. I think the most important piece to where I am with this right now is those before me. Is I wouldn't be in a situation if Blaine Taylor doesn't recruit me and Stu doesn't start off as my first coach, my first year here, and if I don't spend those 6 years in Montgomery. So really this is a result of the coaching tree placing a former player that has been experienced coaching within the tree in the seat. And so this could have been anyone of the former coaches that could have done this.
Joe, in his 1 year here, we talked about this before, but obviously being a father, you've experienced it first with Moody and now him. Why has he been able to kind of assimilate and have the impact he's had kind of moving across the country here? But then also, just what does he bring? I mean, does his life experience add anything to maybe some of these younger guys that's maybe helped this team this year?
I think comfort. I think he's a lot more comfortable here than some of the other places he's been, whether it's his relationship with staff, the players. I think where this program is right now is a lot different than some of the other places, and those are winning programs that he's been at. But you know, not all programs fit all people, and I think that's a mistake that we make as coaches and as student athletes as we select one another. Is sometimes it's not a great fit, and talent isn't always what makes a situation perfect. And I think for Joe, the things that he was looking for, the things that he needed to continue to grow and have a positive experience, we're here. We're benefiting from it more than he is, though. And I think for us, we need leadership. We need someone who doesn't necessarily talk the game, but play the game. And when I say that, I'm talking show up to practice every day, be coached, assume responsibility when you make mistakes, be okay with being corrected. And you know, when you feel like there's guys on the team that might not be in the mood to get better and work, acknowledge it, and they'll accept it and improve with you. And so I think that's the biggest thing is we've got a young man in the program that will run through a wall for his teammates and with his teammates, and there's no question that they'll follow him through that.
Could you just go back to the recruiting, Joe, to come here, how that went down? And if I remember, he was pretty late in the recruiting process. Were you guys maybe one of the last guys you brought in?
You know, the transfer situation, you might reach out to 50 kids, get 15 of them to campus, and get 2. And so it's a wide net, and he was in the net, and there was some communication, and then towards the end of it, there was no communication, and we were pretty much done with our recruitment. And Anderson Clark, who recruited him, continued to have some dialogue with him, and we realized that there was still an opportunity to get him here, even though we had finalized our roster for the most part. So once we came to that conclusion, we jumped into Zoom and had a conversation and realized that it'd be a great fit. And so how do we make that happen? And fortunately for us, he was willing to do the things on his part to make it happen to be here.
And then how did it come about that he's got another year of eligibility to play?
It's just a wide, it's a two-way winner. It just fell into.
Obviously, I have a lot of transfers this year. When it comes to some of these guys playing the Big Sky for the first time, experiencing rivalries like Cactus for the first time, how have you seen them go into that?
I think they were excited the first time around. They heard about, you know, what the crowd would be like, and they felt the energy. So I think it creates a level of excitement. But I think the first time around, they really did not know exactly what it was they were getting into. Now they know. Now they have a better feel for that. This time, they won't be loved. They'll be hated. And so hopefully they'll be able to.
Sure.